Philippe Petain was born into a peasant family in Cauchy-la-Tour. His mother died when he was 18 months old, and he was sent to live with relatives after his father remarried. After attending boarding school in Albert-le-Grand, he went to the Saint-Cyr Military Academy in 1876. Between 1878 and 1899, he served in several garrisons. Many French generals had adopted a philosophy that emphasized infantry assaults. Petain believed that developments in technology meant that war would favor the defenders and that artillery would reign supreme in the next major war. In 1904, he began teaching at the École Supérieure de Guerre, and he became a professor on the 3rd of April, 1908. By 1914, at the age of 58, Petain was a colonel in command of a brigade. At his age, there was little chance of him becoming a general, and he had bought a villa for his retirement. With the start of the Great War, Petain saw a rapid advancement. He commanded his brigade at the Battle of Guise and was promoted to brigadier general. He commanded the 6th Division at the Marne, and a month later he was given command of a corps for the Artois Offensive in 1915. In July of that year, he was given command of the 2nd Army, and he led them in the Champagne Offensive in autumn. At the beginning of 1916, both the Entente and the Central Powers were weary of war. The German Chief of the General Staff, Erich von Falkenhayn, sought to secure a decisive victory over the French before Britain reached full deployment. Petain was given command of Army Group Center. It consisted of 52 divisions. He organized his forces to defend in depth, establishing a series of mutually supporting strongpoints rather than keeping most of his forces in the frontline trenches. He rotated units through Verdun regularly in order to provide soldiers with time to rest up before returning to the fight. He also greatly increased the number of artillery pieces at Verdun and made sure that his soldiers had a steady stream of supplies. The French were able to hold out and ultimately defeated the Germans in a battle that saw 350,000 German casualties, including 143,000 deaths. The French saw 390,000 casualties and 163,000 deaths. Although France took greater losses, the German offensive had been beaten back, and Petain became known as the Lion of Verdun. In 1917, after the failure of General Robert Nivelle's offensive in northern France, there were widespread mutinies. Nearly half of all infantry divisions participated to some degree. French soldiers were still willing to hold the line and defend their country, but they were unwilling to launch futile offensives. Petain was appointed commander-in-chief to replace Nivelle, and he worked towards restoring morale. He talked to the soldiers, promised no more suicidal attacks, provided rest for exhausted units, and moderate discipline to mutineers. In 1918, the Kaiserschlacht, or German Spring Offensive, began. A series of attacks were launched along the line in order to split the British and French and defeat them before the arrival of American reinforcements. Prime Minister Georges Clemenceau claimed to have heard Petain say, "The Germans will beat the English in open country, then they'll beat us as well." And General Haig recorded that Petain had the look of a commander that had lost his nerve. However, the Germans were beaten back again and decisively defeated in the 100 Days Offensive by November of that year. Petain ended the war as one of France's greatest military heroes, and was presented with the baton of a Marshal of France at Metz by President Raymond Poincaré on the 8th of December, 1918. In his conduct during the war, Petain has often been characterized as pessimistic, overly cautious, and defeatist. But by looking at his record, we see a man that placed high value on the lives of his troops. He worked tirelessly towards maintaining high morale in his units, and provided soldiers with the rest and resources needed to defeat the Germans again and again. While other generals of the period, like Nivelle, Cadorna, Falkenhayn, and Hotzendorf, were fervent adherents to the cult of the offensive, and quick to throw away the lives of their men on futile attacks, Petain believed firmly that firepower was superior, and that battles would favor defensive operations. History proved him correct. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed that video. If you did, please like, share, comment, and subscribe. Have a nice day.